everyone. Hope you can hear me well. Thank you for coming to Ops Calling. My name is Roy. I'm leading the ecosystem at Tulip. We have amazing three speakers today for the panel partnerships that we're working on in the last few months with Hexagon, Snowflake, and Sartorius. And we're going to have hopefully a fruitful discussion about how to drive partnership and touching Tulip's ecosystem. So without further ado, I want to kind of start with a warm-up as an introduction. So I will start from right to left. So Norman, hi, thank you for joining us today and walking about the partnership for a long time. So can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about Sartorius?
Sure. My name is Norman Trapp. I'm with Sartorius for 4 years. I'm heading digital solutions in Sartorius, which means our offerings for customers in the biopharma segment with respect to software products and services on top of these products. My organization covers everything in the space of automation, from the actual actuators and sensors that generate the data through the control systems, through SCADA systems, and as Roy said, in the partnership also on the frontline operation side. And we also have a data analytics offering, machine learning offering, which allows us to do process monitoring, process control for processes running in customer environment. We cover mostly process development to commercial manufacturing with our offerings.
I assume nobody missed the huge bioreactor when you enter the building. So that's kind of part of the partnership. And later on, if you're visiting the area, you can see the integration and how it looks like and what is the potential of combining cutting edge hardware and machines with Tulip. I wouldn't say cutting edge software to be humble, but with Tulip. All right, so Pugal, you're next, CTO for manufacturing at Snowflake.
Yeah, thanks, Roy. Again, name is Pugal Janakiraman, lead the manufacturing solutions vertical for Snowflake. My responsibility is to launch Manufacturing Cloud, which we did last year. And also building higher order solutions on Snowflake to accelerate digital transformation. That's what I do. Again, I think Snowflake, quick synopsis, we are a data platform company, which is a cloud vendor agnostic data platform. Origin was in data warehousing, but we were evolved into a data platform now. We deliver deep insights for manufacturing with native ingestion mechanism for bringing in any type of IT and OT data into Snowflake. From assets or from historians, we can do that. And deriving insights from that with the partnership with Tulip is the journey we undertook a couple of months back. We are really looking forward for this journey forward into manufacturing vertical. Thanks again, Roy.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. And Jason, you're last. Jason from Hexagon.
Thanks, Roy. Is my mic working?
Yeah, you can.
All right. So Jason Walker from Hexagon. I've been with Hexagon for 10 years now, and for those of you who don't know us, many people don't, they may know some of our products. Hexagon's been on a journey over the last 20 years. We've acquired over 200 companies. We're looking at building a portfolio for smart manufacturing that spans from the design of products through the manufacturing of products to the inspection and quality management. So really operational tasks across the shop floor from the top floor down to the manufacturing operations. I work as part of the manufacturing intelligence division, so we focus more primarily on discrete manufacturing, but saying that, we have other divisions within the group that focus on process industries as well. So some solutions such as EAM, enterprise asset management, that are used in both discrete and in process manufacturing. This is where we've identified there are already some touch points with Tulip, with customers using our EAM platform and Tulip together. And then in our division for manufacturing intelligence, more focus on discrete manufacturing, all the way from parts and components up to the end products. The design and engineering, simulation of the end product, through to the manufacturing operations, preparing for the manufacturing tasks, and through to inspection of the various components and the end products as well, and ultimately managing quality across those various stages of the workflow. So this is where we've seen a good opportunity for Tulip, obviously, to integrate with many of our technologies to help with the operational level and operational execution.
Awesome. Thank you so much for three of you. So I want to encourage the audience, if you have questions during the panel, please just raise your hand and we can open up the Q&A instead of at the end when it's relevant during the conversation. So please jump in. So to kick off kind of the discussion, I want to, we will have two parts for the panel. We will start from kind of talking about partnership and the idea of ecosystem that I think Nathan presented very well in the morning. And then we kind of going to explain a bit more in detail for a few minutes about each one of the partnerships. I think, going back to the idea of composability, so I believe it's composability meeting bioreactors and the hardware and machines in pharma, and composability meets data ops, and composability meet quality, which I think Hexagon has so many different products that touching quality in different aspects, from CAD and CMMs, etc. So my first kind of questions to the panel is, what value you see in collaborations and partnership, and specifically under the scope of Tulip, around the partnership with Tulip. So Norman, if you mind starting.
Sure. So I think from seeing the bioreactor before, what is quite obvious is the focus of the Sartorius portfolio is around our consumables and our instruments, and looking at single-use devices. Even though if you walk by the bioreactor, you see quite an impressive device, but it's a single-use device, so it fits very well into the composable story, right? You are not building up a production line in stainless steel, which is set once and then very hard to change. With single-use, you have a composability story that you can utilize your instruments. Also, with respect to the software we run on the instruments, we are also composing the software on there. So we compose GMP-ready software based on the customer order with our instruments. And this fits very well into the whole ecosystem and composability story that at the end we have with Tulip. So Tulip gives us the opportunity, with us focusing largely on the operator space, the space of people in front of the machines, the space of people producing on the instruments, with composable instruments, with composable software, then to provide additional value for the overall process through the IT level integration we have into Tulip.
Awesome, thank you. So if you will go into the mission control room, which is the room with the big TV on the map, you will see data that is connected from the bioreactor via Tulip in a unified namespace architecture, and actually meets itself in Snowflake as the manufacturer cloud. So Pugal, back to you.
Sure. I think from a Snowflake point of view, this is a pretty straightforward question to answer, because we are a cloud company. We don't have any presence at the edge. Been long enough in the manufacturing to know that anything we do in manufacturing has to be a hybrid architecture spanning edge to the cloud. So when I had this responsibility to launch Manufacturing Cloud last year, April, we did that in Hanover. It was done completely with partnership. 50 plus partners were brought to the table, edge partners, cloud partners, data integration partners, players like that for data ingestion piece and also insights piece. So that's what we did as part of the partnership. Having said that, one of the biggest asks which consistently came up to us ever since we launched Manufacturing Cloud, where I thought we did a pretty good job in bringing in IT and OT data democratization into Snowflake at lowest possible cost, highest possible fidelity. Consistent ask has been that, how do I realize the value faster? That's where the partnership becomes so important for us with Tulip. This value realization journey becomes instantaneous with us building a deep integration between Snowflake and Tulip with a native connector between these two systems, and with your common data model, which can consume this data immediately into your composable MES. is a game changer in the industry. That's what is exciting us as part of the partnership. So, and also if I had to add one more thing as part of it, we are all long enough in the business. We know that there is no one-size-fits-all solution for something like an MES. Think like Rick was mentioning in an earlier session, even within the same facility between two different lines, the configuration and customizations needed to run an MES system is very different. So that's where we think this is a game changer partnership. And also the value realization journey, we can jointly go approach customers where they can realize the value sooner than later. So that's where we see the biggest value with Tulip.
Awesome. And I very much agree. I think the story of closing the loop is super interesting here between different assets, data, platforms, machines, but also to the operator from generating data, but also going back into operator. And I think, Jason, when we started the partnership, I think we talked a lot about the connected worker at the machine shop. And I think that the nice story about Hexagon is that from one side you have the CAD/CAM platforms and software that comes more from the R&D and can be streamed into the worker with Tulip, but then also when the operator goes to the machine, he meets again Tulip. Tell us a bit more.
Yeah, I think so. Probably opposite to what Pugal said. Most of our solutions are actually point solutions not used in the cloud at the moment, both hardware and software, but software used on the desktop rather than deployed in the cloud. So this is where we saw the opportunity to partner with Tulip. Is obviously Tulip being cloud-based, syncing and leveraging data from the various point solutions that we provide, and unlocking a bit of value, I think, in the seams between the functions. So obviously we serve the design engineer office, we serve the production or the manufacturing shop floor, as well as the inspection lab, and then quality management sort of runs across that. But between those different functions, there's a lot of value to be unlocked. And I think that's through enabling more seamless operations from one function to the next, and obviously empowering workers on the shop floor as well through this connected worker approach. And I agree as well. There's no one MES sort of solution that fits all. So this composable nature of being able to tailor to a customer's current workflows and deploy a solution that fits that workflow. Roy, you mentioned the machine shop. So we look at it through the perspective of, in the discrete manufacturing industry, Hexagon's technology currently touches 95% of all aircraft produced, 90% of all cars produced around the world, 75% of all smartphones. And when you look at it like that, you think about the large OEMs, you think about the names of the companies that are manufacturing the products, and typically their name is on that product. But there's this very vast and complex supply chain underneath that. And we all know, when we talk about empowering more manufacturing and moving, production closer or nearshoring and all of these topics, it relies on that supply chain being, as efficient as the OEM themselves. So this is another area that we thought, with Tulip, we can deploy solutions that can be tailored and customized and work with our current point solutions to optimize even the smallest manufacturer all the way up to the OEM.
Yeah. So maybe tell you behind the scenes secrets. The CMM machine that you've seen in tech arrived yesterday late afternoon, let's say.
Yes.
And we didn't prepare an integration. We built it late evening yesterday, and a bit hacking this morning, and it's ready to use. Machine integration into digital assets, including the full application on top of it. I think that's kind of show the value of partnership, but also show the simplicity that Tulip offer into operation.
Yeah.
So let's double click about each one of the integrations and partnerships, starting with Snowflake. So give us kind of a bit more kind of broad perspective about Snowflake, because I think many of the people here are kind of coming from operation, and traditionally Snowflake sits a bit more in the IT side
Right.
of the organization. What is Snowflake, and
Sure.
how it's kind of connected into operation?
Sure. Yeah, I think as I said earlier, Snowflake, again, you're right. When the journey started for us, Snowflake has been a data warehousing product. But it evolved over a period of time into a data platform where you can bring in data from various sources and run analytics into it, where we completely decouple the storage and compute, and you move the compute next to the storage to avoid shipping data across, getting into issues around cost issues on data sharing, security issues. All of that gets eliminated as part of the journey. And again, I think that played a role in the IT side of the world. Obviously, customers have used Snowflake for even manufacturing data, largely SAP data analytics. In fact, our analytics capability for Snowflake, for SAP HANA, in fact, the best reference we have is with Siemens across around their 160 plus facilities around the world. By shifting from SAP HANA into Snowflake-based analytics, the cost went down by 99.9%. It's a public reference. So there is huge amount of efficiency to be gained on large-scale analytics with us. That's a role we play traditionally. A couple of years back, obviously, the company decided to verticalize and provide offerings for a very logical reasons, because manufacturing community are not builders. They buy solutions, they buy outcomes. So the goal was to build verticalized offering and provide it to customer. So again, that was my responsibility around 2 years back when I took the role, to set that vision and strategy for Snowflake on how do you go win that manufacturing space. So when I took the role, obviously this company was pretty well positioned in integrating with any IT systems, running insights, a lot of references. Company has done well, 2 billion plus company. So, but we have never played in OT space on our own. Customers have been using us for managing OT data, connected car data. Pretty much there are a lot of references for us like Toyota and large companies who are managing time series data in Snowflake. But we didn't build an offering till we launched Manufacturing Cloud. So one of the first responsibility when I took the role is to set an OT strategy for the company. Again, I ran this practice for AWS before I came here to Snowflake. I ran the industrial IoT and manufacturing practice globally for AWS around 4 years. So I have quite a bit of background in that area of building cloud-based solutions by natively bringing in, it's not just IT data, but OT data. It can come in from machines, PLCs, assets, sensors, and that can span from a manufacturing facility into a connected product world. In addition to that, also there is a whole bunch of other market space within largely process manufacturing historians, which has been managing time series data for the last 3 decades or 4 decades out there. There has been a consistent ask from those customers, is there a lower cost viable options with a cloud vendor to manage the historian data as well? So we set the strategy around 2 years back and built and launched capabilities in Snowflake where it's not just IT data. You can bring OT data with the right fidelity, contextualization of plant hierarchy, asset models, unit of measure, every possible tag data without tag by tag charging into Snowflake natively. And also from any historians in the market, you can get the data into Snowflake and bring IT and OT together as a unified namespace to derive deeper insights. This is the capability we launched last year, April, in Hanover Messe. Super successful so far, hundreds and hundreds of engagement, pretty large engagements happening globally, multiple references as well in this journey. So, and as part of the journey, we also proved that we can bring in OT data with higher fidelity and lower cost than anybody else as of today. And I'm talking about other cloud vendors out there. We can do that much better. We have proven that already. And again, as part of the journey, as I said earlier, Roy, we talked about this extensively between Eddie, you and me for the last couple of months. One consistent ask from our customer base is, hey, now you have proven that you can bring the data into scale into a platform like Snowflake. What do I do next? How do I get the value out of the data? So again, that is an area where the market is still evolving. We need more and more apps for maintenance, quality control, and all those things. Because as I said, these manufacturing customers are not builders. They want to buy solutions. That's where this partnership made a ton of sense for Snowflake and obviously for you guys to double down and make this partnership more successful by providing this out-of-the-box integration for not only reading data from Snowflake, which can be consumed by your composable MES with your common data model you have in place, but you are generating as part of the frontline operations events and alerts and triggers which needs to be persisted back into Snowflake as an historian, enterprise historian, a cloud historian, which can be leveraged for broader insights, which is what the customers are asking for. You know the customer names. We are talking to so many out there jointly on this front. For example, benchmarking two different facilities. Why is one facility consistently producing better quality, better throughput compared to the other one? Capital infrastructure and investment I have done the same between these facilities. They want to take like last 6 months, 1 year worth of data and get deeper insights so I can improve productivity. These are the kind of solutions we are looking to launch jointly with this partnership. So again, I think that's the next level of detail I can offer as part of this.
Super excited. So, another fun fact behind the scene, when we started kind of to work together, we looked at mutual accounts that are using Tulip and Snowflake, and we find quite a lot, like high 2-digit number. But the reality was that not so many of the customers are actually having this type of integration, because again, like Snowflake is traditionally being used on the IT side of the organization, and lots of business assets are streaming data into Snowflake, but not Tulip. So I think what I like about this partnership a lot is that Snowflake and Tulip are taking responsibility as an ecosystem play. We are building a very strong and robust integration that will be available to customers through the Tulip library as a connector, but also easily accessible as on the Snowflake environment. And people can streamline their data from Tulip into Snowflake in a very simple way. It's kind of one day job for IT OT, and you're done, and can start consuming data with the variety of AI and machine learning and analytics applications that exist within Snowflake. Yeah. And I'm talking about real AI. I'm not talking about generative AI. I'm talking about AI that is proven and bringing value to customers in the last, 10 years at least.
Right.
So that's kind of real in here. I think one of the interesting data that Tulip provides is data from people that runs the shop floor.
Right.
And traditionally, I think when people are talking about historians and data in manufacturing, they refer to machine data. What do you think about the kind of using Tulip data that is so connected into what people are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the additional events and triggers and insights you are generating from the frontline operation also needs to be persisted, historized somewhere. Because over a period of time, you would love to understand why certain things happen certain way based on the triggers and alerts which has been generated at the front line. So again, that's why it's not just one directional connectivity where Tulip is going to consume the data from Snowflake. We have built the integration which is bidirectional in nature, where that data can be persisted in context of already the IT and OT data which has been collected. And along with that, the insights is also getting persisted back into Snowflake and historized as well. So you can now do trend analytics as part of it. So every one of it can be consumed, as you said, with real AI capability, which is proven. Not that we cannot support LLM. LLMs can be supported in Snowflake as well. You can bring your own LLM model, or we have our own LLM model called as Arctic in Snowflake as part of our Cortex AI umbrella. So you can leverage these tools to get deeper insights into Snowflake. Absolutely.
Awesome. So let's switch into Hexagon, Jason. Talk about the partnership. Actually, one note about Snowflake that forgot to say. Look out for a press release that went out today, announcing kind of our mutual offering with Snowflake about the future of cloud historian,
right.
As we call it, streamlining data from operation into the cloud in a historian fashion. And lots more to go. Right. Hexagon. So we talked about the variety of products, and just kind of to connect us smoothly. tell us about the data that Hexagon is using day to day, and how Tulip partnerships go into.
Yeah, I think it's a very common topic that we discuss with our customers, how they leverage data. Obviously, data that's created in many of our solutions by many of our devices, both the hardware side and the software side. But it's interesting, I think, at the fundamental level, in terms of transforming the way that customers manufacture anything. And leveraging more of the cloud and AI. I suppose this is a common topic where we get asked often, how do I leverage AI more to optimize any of my processes across the business? And I think this is a key thing, is that knowledge, the tribal knowledge on the shop floor, the operations and the data coming from the actual operations conducted by humans on the shop floor is often not captured. So the first step is often, how do we digitize more of those processes to capture that data? Because, as far as AI extends, we can't apply it necessarily to all the paper across the shop floor unless that paper is digitized to some extent, right? And we see mostly it's paper being used across the shop floor for various operations, work orders, designs, blueprints, all of that. So Hexagon, in terms of the data that we currently leverage, it's more around the product data. And this is where we get into the topic of digital twin as well. So, from designing the product, creating the digital twin of that product, but then also looking at digital twin through the perspective of the environment, right? The assets on the shop floor, the digital twins of those assets, as well as the digital twin of the process itself. Once you start capturing all those elements of data, then, applying AI to run different scenarios and identify where the gaps are. Pugal, you mentioned 2 facilities running at different levels of capacity with the same assets. You've got to obviously collect the other elements of data from the operations happening on the shop floor. Mm-hmm. Now, as I said, we've got machinery that outputs data on how the machines operate, and obviously what information or data they collect on the products that are being created. But where we see more of an opportunity to work with Tulip is capturing some of that tribal knowledge from the shop floor, and that then opens us up to upskilling new skills coming into the market as well, which is a big topic. Probably the biggest topic when we speak to any of our customers is skills. The loss of, obviously, skills that are retiring from the businesses, and new skills coming in. How do we upskill those new entrants as quickly as possible? And I think this all plays a part.
Awesome. So a fun fact here is that when we started to work together again, we found out very quickly that more than 25% of Tulip customers using some level of Hexagon products. And Hexagon has a lot of product. So you probably saw the metrology arm that scanning the part in tech, and if not, go see it. But actually, Hexagon has so many other products, right? Besides the metrology, that just as a segment, there are so many different metrology devices. Give us a bit more kind of understanding
deep dive,
of what is your offering.
Okay, so again, referring to our division, Manufacturing Intelligence, focused on discrete part and product manufacturing. We have all the way from design engineering, which we typically see as the first element of, when you come to design a new product, you need to often simulate how that product is going to perform in the market. So Hexagon has a portfolio that, we acquired the MSC business, which was initially developed as part of NASA for taking some of the first, rockets to the moon and simulating how those rockets would perform when they're leaving Earth. So that simulation is multi-physics, CFD analysis, how products and aircraft perform when they're flying through the air, in order to optimize the design of the products. Then we go through to, you mentioned CAD/CAM, and this is really preparing, the individual components that need to be manufactured through CNC or other manufacturing processes on the shop floor. It could be cutting parts, could be through additive process. We have a very large portfolio. We're actually the largest CAD/CAM provider in the world with the different solutions that we have. Again, extending from injection molding, tool and die manufacturing, to prismatic parts, to additive manufacturing. All the different preparation for those manufacturing stages is done typically through our CAM products. And then more on the hardware side, we have inspection devices that span probes and scanners that go into the CNC machines. DMG is a good example of this. Good customer of ours, good customer of Tulip's as well. They often use a lot of our probes in the machine itself, or a scanner in the machine, to check the quality of the part when it's still in the manufacturing process. And then, as Roy mentioned, you'll see one of our scanning arms, which is more a portable scanning solution that can be used for measuring parts. It can also be used for flush and gap detection and inspection of the product once it's been assembled, so during the assembly process. And then more typically, our coordinate measuring machine portfolio, as you can see on the screen there, is typically a larger machine that is used for finite dimensional analysis. And one step further than that, we're getting a lot more requests for our CT analysis solutions as well. So not only looking at the external dimensions, also the internal dimensions of certain components, especially as we look at additive manufacturing and those types of applications. Further than that, we look at quality across the enterprise as well. So we also have a cloud-based platform called ETQ, which is an enterprise quality management solution. Looking at quality not only through the perspective of the final part or the final product, but quality throughout the different stages of the workflow that I mentioned, from design through manufacturing to inspection. And again, all of these solutions, there's so much opportunity here in terms of connecting them up to Tulip and using Tulip as that platform that streamlines the operations between these tasks. Just one more thing that I would note, the partnership itself, I think, was more driven from our customers. So as you mentioned earlier, most of these customers are not builders themselves. They're looking for a holistic solution or a group of solutions that works together holistically to unlock more value than the sum of the individual parts. And I think that's where we see a lot of drive for the ecosystem approach, because for the industry to truly transform, we need more vendors working together to create these integrations and create solutions across the different products and solutions that individual vendors provide to unlock more of the value for the customer and not leave it all to the customer to do themselves.
Awesome. And connecting into Daniele from Roche speech in the morning, I think value to customers is definitely a common theme across the three partnerships. And Hexagon products are a lot about quality, and obviously quality is very critical in manufacturing. And one of the key areas that quality play parts is in life science. Moving into Sartorius, Norman, tell us a bit more about the partnership and your vision.
Yeah, so as I said before, from an ecosystem perspective, I believe that we fit very well together with respect to the vision, with respect to where we are planning to go from a Sartorius perspective. And I'm a firm believer, and I think we also heard that from Pugol and also from the description on Hexagon. At the end of the day, company has a certain focus, and you're trying to stay close to that focus. If you are trying to do everything yourself, at the end of the day, you are not good at anything, right? You need to understand what is it that really defines you. And for us, in a large amount, this is the biopharma tech, the single-use components. We've done some strategic acquisitions in the area of cell lines and media. So we are providing really what is used by customers like Roche and others to really be able to produce medications of the future. But given the fact that we have a lot of the process know-how, and we actually design the facilities for our customers as well, so we completely understand the process they're executing. We understand what components they require, how the things fit together, and which things they might need from us and which elements they integrate from others. We also see that there is an additional value, that there's a lot of value above the level that the operator sees on a day-to-day basis. It comes when you really bring all the elements together, when you integrate the data and try to optimize the holistic process, that the actual value comes. But that layer, similar to what was said on Snowflake, is not necessarily our layer on the IT, on the OT level. That rather goes into the IT space, and there the partnership with Tulip allows us to provide additional value add in a seamless integration part. I also believe that especially when you look at it from an IT level, you need no-code, low-code capabilities, because every customer, we heard it before, every process line might be different, so you need to be able to customize. And even if you bring out a logbook application for all your sites, every site might have different needs in their logbook functionalities, so you need to be able to adjust that and give that customization capability to your different sites. And we believe that with Tulip, we have a partner at hand that can really complement our offering. And we know that we are playing already at a lot of common customers in the biopharma space, where we provide equipment, where we provide our, let's say, operator solutions, and Tulip is providing MES capabilities on top.
So I'm taking the risk here to be trivial, but I would assume that many of the audience here are not from the life science sector. So even if you're not, please go and see the demo, because I think it's opened up so many aspects. A bioreactor, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a bioreactor expert, but you see they're a very complex device. You see a plastic bag inside that is complex by itself, but that plastic bag is being replaced every 20 days, and it's actually a live thing that is doing fermentation of some kind, which is, by the way, bread is also fermented, and chocolate is also fermented, and most of the things that were, and beer, obviously, and yeah, but many of the drugs that are out there, or at least the cutting edge of drug development, is based on these processes. But quality and regulation and process control is such a critical part of it, right?
Absolutely.
So give us kind of a bit more into what Tulip brings into a life cycle of 20 days for the operators that are actually working next to that machine.
So when we look at it from a manufacturing perspective, all of our devices have to follow good manufacturing practices. There's a lot of regulations that we need to fulfill. You need to make sure you have audit trails in place, user management in place. You need to be able to track what's happening on the devices, who made some modifications. And if somebody loses a batch, that can be, especially with, let's say, more modern medication, can be something that has a 7-digit number attached to it. So there is easily the discussion afterwards whose fault it was when that batch gets lost. And we have to ensure that we follow the right regulations, that we have all the capabilities on the operator level, but we obviously also need somebody, when we look at the electronic batch record, the logbook functionality, or maybe in the future also driving a complete process from a cloud functionality, that this player also follows the same standards. And Tulip can do that. Tulip has all the capabilities to complement us on that side as well.
You know, ecosystem for me at least, it's not only about two companies partnering, it's about creating an ecosystem. Mm-hmm. So hopefully in Ops Calling 3 next year, we will be able to hear the four of us, and we will be able to tell you that, ETQ, which is a QMS by Hexagon, is being used coupled with a Sartorius bioreactor for quality and kappa management, and that data is actually streamlined into a Snowflake instance within the organization, and it's not a very crazy idea, right? It's actually, I'm sure we can find a customer that is already doing something very similar to that. So kind of I want to open up for questions from the audience. We have around 5 minutes, so we can take a few questions. So please jump in. We have a microphone here, so raise your hand and we can come to you. If not, you will have to listen to me. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about not just sort of the customer side, but some of the thinking around who does what in each, maybe overall in the partnership, but also I'm guessing in each individual project that you work together. So again, as a customer, you come in and you go, oh, these guys are partners, that's great, right? But as we've been talking about already today, every instance is a little different. So can you talk a little bit about the process from a customer perspective to bring, first of all, to bring in the right partners, but also then to work as a team to get the right solution for that particular use case or challenge?
I can give my view, but I will open up for you. I'm sure you have different perspective. I think building a partnership is not very different from building a product, because you're creating a new product by combining two different products. And therefore, it starts from the value to the customers, and it's a product management work of going back from that value through what is the technology part, what is the integration, how the roadmap looks like, how customers are going to adopt this partnership. And ending up with go-to-market motion, right? We're not a philanthropy here. Ecosystem drives value to customers, and therefore it has a commercial goals and go-to-market action. That's my view. You know, if you want to. Sure.
Yeah, I think specifically when it comes to the customer themselves, it's typically down to implementation, right? You don't want to have maybe 5 or 6 different partners coming in all together, and you've got a whole suite of people there to work on the various tasks. Obviously, that has to occur to some extent, depending on the complexity of the solution to be implemented. But I know for us, we're looking at, and this is why we chose Tulip, is because obviously, it's easy for the customer to configure a lot themselves on top of the solutions that we already provide. And we're looking at creating some easily, pre-configured deployable apps on Tulip that make it easy for the customer to pick up and start using. But equally, we are looking at developing some capabilities within our applications team as well, so that they are familiar with the partner solution and are able to some extent to help with that implementation. Obviously, you don't want to become the vendor of, or the single vendor that provides every solution in the world, but where it makes sense and the technologies complement each other. And ultimately, as Roy said, we looked at this through the customer perspective. How much overlap do we have in customer base using our respective technologies? And that's the type of approach, where is the biggest value we can create in the shortest amount of time with key partners?
Right. I think if this is a common question which comes up for us with every meeting we have with customers. Even if I take a concept of Industry 4.0, which talks about there is connect, collect, store, and then analyze. At a high level, these are the 4 steps. If you want to bring in best-in-class products for all these areas, you're looking at minimally 4 different portfolios. This has to be brought together. We have already connected the dots, build integration into it, but still you will need some help. Either it is internal teams, which you have that kind of IT, OT skill set to drive value into your organization, or we can provide recommendation of system integrators, we can do it for you. That's the approach we take with customers. If customers don't have the skill set, we bring in the system integrators. We can provide the best practice on how do you model the assets in a scalable way at the edge and move it from edge to the cloud with contextualization. And how do you drive insights on the data which gets streamed into a cloud environment, whether it needs to be done for near real time at the edge or over a period of time at the cloud, however you do it. That's the approach we always take. It comes down to the customer maturity as well and availability of resources in your own world.
Maybe just to add, and I think a lot of it was said already, but I sometimes see that in the past the approach that was taken a lot was everybody throws something over the fence to the customer, and then you leave him with a puzzle game, typically looking like 10 boxes put together, and now you try to make a picture out of it. And I think that has left a lot of people frustrated. You get a lot of good individual solutions, but nothing fits together. Right. And the idea of the partnership of an ecosystem really is, at the end of the day, to say we pre-build the capabilities from the domain know-how, from the understanding of our customers, to get them started on the journey, to really give them already a value add, give them the parts that generated problems in the past for the integration, and set them up with value add from day one. And I think that's one of the things we can really do with Tulip.
Right. In fact, if I had to add to that, it's a very valuable point. There's a lot of lessons learned as part of this pilot journey where you bring in these kind of solutions, pilot it works, but beyond that, scaling into production is a challenge. In fact, the approach we took based on the lessons learned, for example, we work with a partner called as Concept Reply. They can come and do this kind of pilots free of charge. They can take the solutions which we have already built and proven it together, prove it at your own facility for a bunch of machines, lines, process, whatever you want to do in a week or less time frame as an investment, prove it out, and then work with you to scale it up as well. So we have done this kind of work already. It's pretty successful, this journey, what we have put together.
Yep. Awesome. I think we have time for one more question.
Thanks. I want to touch on something that, Norman, you brought up, which is the ecosystem is working together. We heard a lot about how Tulip works with Snowflake, how Tulip works with Sartorius, how Tulip works with that. That's more of a, kind of a star type of thing. How are you doing more of a mesh where, for instance, it would be great if the Sartorius bioreactors data model and physical model was something that could be delivered to Snowflake for their storage of that data and delivered to Tulip so that in like an MTP format, we just get your file and now I have a replica of your bioreactor in Tulip. I don't have to go create it as a citizen community. Are you guys working together or is it still?
No, I think that's a pretty valid point. In fact, that's the announcement which Roy said, which will come out today, or maybe it's already out. We are providing an enterprise level historian with Snowflake with this kind of diverse set of, it's not just one class of equipment, one type of equipment. It's a diverse set of equipments, assets, manufacturing processes we have to support, because we are not just in process manufacturing or life science or automotive or aerospace industry. We are supporting every possible customers, at least from Snowflake side. Anything we build as a framework should support most of these requirements as a whole. That's why we work with a whole bunch of partners in this area. Again, you are hearing about three of us, we are on the stage, but there are a whole bunch of other partners. Because, for example, HiBite, it's an important part of our partnership for Snowflake and with Tulip to get this data in a scalable fashion. Any type of assets, any type of manufacturing equipment in a plant floor, PLC, SCADA system, it doesn't matter. Every one of it can be moved scalably from edge to the cloud. So that's what we have done. So answer is yes, we are doing that.
Yeah, I would add to that. So, it goes far beyond the three partners that you're hearing from here. So I mentioned earlier, we have a common partner as well in DMG Mori, which is is the largest CNC provider in the world. And many of our customers then, we will use digital models of DMG's machines to optimize and simulate the manufacturing process from our CAM solutions. And all of that is made possible again through sharing data through Tulip platform and into Snowflake, obviously if customers are using that solution as well. And it extends far beyond to the true nature of ecosystem, right?
100%. Totally.
And maybe just to sum up, you brought up MTP, right? We announced at our user group meeting, which happened earlier this year, and Tulip was present as well, that we will provide MTP through all of our standard equipment in the course of the next couple of months. So we've demonstrated the capabilities, and we're now rolling that out to not only the bioreactors, but also to our downstream equipment. Any type of instrument that we produce for biopharma will be MTP capable, because, as you said, I believe in the fact that we need a common data model. It cannot be that we call a pH in one instrument and call it something completely different in another instrument, making it extremely difficult to process that further. And we heard Danielle this morning speak about AI and analyzing the data more. A common topology, a common model that allows us to really be easily processed and then consumed, for example, out of Snowflake and brought into different forms of AI capabilities is exactly where we need to go to increase or decrease cost and increase or also increase time to market by decreasing the molecule life cycle through the different development steps.
Amazing. All right. So, yeah, want to thank you for coming and attending Ops Calling, but also for the long-lasting partnerships that we're building. So, thank you for that, and thank you everyone for attending the session.
Thank you.
Thank you.